Hi, Arcfieldweather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday morning, August the 15th. Still kind of an active weather pattern across much of the northern and eastern part of the nation. We have a strong cool front that'll push through the mid-Atlantic region later today. It can certainly produce another round of showers and thunderstorms for the mid-Atlantic region, the northeast U.S. Some of those afternoon storms can be on the strong side. Meanwhile, there's quite a bit of moisture headed to the southwestern part of the nation for later this week, especially Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time frame. And a lot of that has to do with moisture surging to the north from a tropical system over the eastern Pacific Ocean. Let's start off with the Atlantic Basin tropical look right now. We have a couple of systems that we'll monitor over the next, probably the next couple of weeks. There's a system in the far eastern Atlantic and perhaps an even more impressive wave, tropical wave right here nearing the west coast of Africa. This particular system was a very impressive complex of thunderstorms yesterday, and in other words, it's a very strong wave, and we'll monitor this as it slides off the west coast of Africa. We're now starting to ramp up in terms of the climatological tropical season in the Atlantic Basin. Typically, you get most of your activity between August 15th and October 15th, and may very well have to deal with a system near the east coast of the Gulf of Mexico during the last week of the month of August. So again, we'll watch these two systems, especially this second one right here has some possibilities. It's a very strong tropical wave. Well, let's get back to the continental U.S. and take a look at last night's 0Z run of the Canadian model. This is the total accumulated precipitation over the next 10 days, and certainly a few things stand out as you take a look at this particular map. First of all, the lack of precipitation right in this part of the nation over the next 10 days, and that tells you that perhaps there will be a strong ridge of high pressure building. Indeed, there will be. This part of the nation will have the chance for some very hot weather relative to normal as we get into the second half of the month of August. So again, a lack of precipitation right in the heartland over the next 10 days or so. And again, we'll see in a moment here that temperatures will go well above normal as high pressure ridging builds across the central U.S. But notice all the precipitation here. First of all, along the western part of Mexico and Baja California, and it extends all the way into the southwestern states. And of course, this is an area of high precipitation amounts as well. This tropical moisture is associated with a tropical feature over the eastern Pacific Ocean. Will send a lot of moisture into the southwestern states in the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time frame. So again, watch out for a lot of activity in the southwestern states with some heavy rainfall. Also, notice a lot of rainfall here across the northeastern states. Part of that will take place later today, again with the passage of a strong cool front. Afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms once again likely in the mid-Atlantic region, in the northeastern states, and primarily focused along into the south and east of I-95. In other words, if you're in D.C. or Philadelphia, you have a better chance of getting strong thunderstorm activity later today on the southeast side of the metro regions here, and that's all because of the timing of that frontal system. It reaches the eastern seaboard, the east coast, late in the afternoon, and then sweeps off the coast, and it stays somewhat unsettled over the next couple of days in the mid-Atlantic region, but high pressure will attempt to build into the region. Let's start off here with the 0Z run of the Canadian model by looking at 5-day mean temperature anomalies at the 850 millibar level going out 10 or 15 days or so. Again, these are averages over 5-day periods, and we wanted to point out a couple things. First of all, there will be a heat wave developing over the central part of the nation that will be quite intense relative to normal as we get into the second half of August. But also, additional cooler than normal air masses will certainly be felt in the northeastern part of the nation. So no extended heat wave coming for the mid-Atlantic region or the northeastern U.S. In fact, we start off here with this 5-day period of below normal centered over the Midwest and nearly normal in the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast U.S., but above normal across portions of the Pacific Northwest. Now, let's move forward again in 5-day increments here. And here we go. Look at the middle part of the nation. Remember, we saw, excuse me, on that total accumulated precipitation forecast map for the next 10 days, lack of precipitation right in this region. That's because high pressure ridging aloft really intensifies, and with it will come a heat wave. Very, very impressive, hotter than normal air here in this 5-day period. Now we're running from August 19th to August 24th, days 5 to 9. Still nearly normal over the northeastern states in that particular 5-day period, and with all that moisture moving into the southwestern states below normal conditions out there. Now let's go a little bit farther out in time, and this heat wave tries to expand to the east. We may get pretty warm, very warm by the time we get to, let's say, Sunday and Monday in places like DC, Philadelphia, New York City, but there'll be another cool shot arriving in the northeastern states during the early part of next week. So again, no extended heat wave expected in the Mid-Atlantic region or the northeastern states. Again, the story is a little bit different out across the Mississippi Valley, the central and northern plains, for example. They'll have several days with hotter than normal conditions beginning this week and extending all the way into the weekend and into the early part of next week. But here we go, all the way out here, days 10 to 14 and days 11 to 15. Now we're out to the last week of August, 25th to the 30th. And look at this, cooler than normal stretch again for the northeastern states. Turning out to be quite a nice summer indeed for much of the northeast, mid-Atlantic region, with nearly normal temperatures when you average together June, July, and it looks like August will turn out to be quite acceptable indeed, with nearly normal temperatures in some cases, such as the last week of the month, below normal conditions across New England and into the Mid-Atlantic region. Stays warmer than normal out across the south central states. Now, those were 5-day mean temperature anomalies at the 850 millibar level. Let's now walk through a daily look at the 850 millibar temperature anomalies from, again, the 0Z run of the Canadian model, pointing out here that we have additional cooler than normal air masses moving into the U.S. Here we start off the day on Tuesday, right in the middle of the month of August, August 15th. A lot of cool air all the way from the interior west across the middle Mississippi Valley and into the Great Lakes region and other areas nearly normal in the northeastern states. Now let's move forward here. A cool front again passes off the East Coast late today, early tonight, and cooler than normal air mass on the heels of that frontal passage in the Midwest on Wednesday across the Tennessee Valley. Pretty nice day temperature-wise in the Mid-Atlantic region. Here comes that building heat wave we'll see here. Once this secondary cool shot passes through the northern plains, we'll start to get quite warm here by the time we get to Saturday. This is the Saturday morning forecast map, and a lot of hotter than normal conditions with a building upper level ridge over the central and northern plains. But look at this, another cool shot for the Mid-Atlantic, the northeast U.S. as we begin the upcoming weekend. Again, this hotter than normal air mass tries to expand into the northeastern part of the nation here by the time we get to, let's say, Sunday and especially Monday. But there will be another cool shot coming right here into the New England area, into the northern Mid-Atlantic, and all the way down into the DC metro region. Basically normal conditions by the time we get to the early part of next week. So this heat wave tries to expand in the east, but pretty much is forced back to sit over the middle part of the nation again. There will be an extended heat wave in the central and northern plains for sure, but not the northeastern states and the southwest. Interior west, no extended heat wave out there either, because of the, for one reason, the abundant moisture that will be flowing northward, surging northward, associated with that tropical system over the eastern Pacific Ocean. Well, let's wrap up with the surface forecast maps from the Canadian model run of last night. Low pressure at the surface still exists well to the west of the I-95 corridor region as we begin the day here on Tuesday, and its associated cool front slides to the east, and there'll be another round of showers and thunderstorms in the Mid-Atlantic, in the Northeast U.S., primarily focused on the afternoon and early evening hours. Some of the storms can certainly be strong. There's a little bit higher of a chance along into the south and east of the I-95 corridor. For example, if you're in the northern western suburbs of D.C. or Philadelphia, your chance for a strong thunderstorm this afternoon is a little bit lower than in those areas to the south and east of Philly or D.C., as an example. And that's all because of the timing of that frontal system. Again, the greatest chance for the heaviest rain, strongest thunderstorms later today along and to the south and east of the I-95 corridor region. Then we move into the second half of the week. This is Wednesday morning, and another cold front starts to show up on the maps by the time we get to Thursday, right in this region right here, and that will usher in a reinforcing shot of cooler than normal air, perhaps with some showers and thunderstorms on Friday to end the work week. And certainly the weekend looks like it'll begin with decent temperatures in the Mid-Atlantic region on the heels of that next frontal system. And here comes that tropical system on the weather maps by the time we get to the weekend. And it'll cause a surge in moisture on its northeastern flank all the way into the southwestern states. So expect an active weather period in the southwestern states later this week going into the upcoming weekend, again associated with a lot of tropical moisture from the eastern Pacific storm system. Now we get into Sunday, and here's when things get really hot out in the middle of the nation, and again that heat tries to expand into the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast U.S. by the time we get to Sunday, and especially by Monday. Here's the Monday morning forecast map. Probably a pretty hot day, places like D.C. and Philadelphia, but then we get that cool shot showing up right here by the time we get to Tuesday. And certainly New England will cool down a week from right now, next Tuesday, with another shot of cool air. And by the way, let's wrap up by saying at this particular time, we're getting down to the last week of August. We'll have to watch for these potential tropical systems that will work their way into the southwestern part of the Atlantic Ocean. And certainly we will monitor those systems probably for the next 10 to 14 days or so. Again, that last week of the month of August could present some possibilities of tropical activity not too far from the eastern seaboard or the Gulf of Mexico. Tropical season about to ramp up as we get into the latter part of the month of August. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.